Grandma surprised me with an incredible birthday present, a luxurious penthouse apartment. It was an unforgettable gift that left me absolutely ecstatic. However, my excitement was short-lived when my mom attempted to take it away from me to appease her new fiancé. Hey everyone! If you're enjoying this story, please remember to subscribe, like, and share to support my channel. Your support means the world to me and helps me continue sharing my experiences with you all. So, just 3 days ago, I turned 15, and my grandma went all out to celebrate by transferring ownership of her stunning penthouse apartment to me. It's not her primary residence. She lives in the suburbs but has owned the city apartment for several years, using it as a getaway whenever she craves the vibrant energy of the city. Receiving such a generous gift was a beacon of joy in what has been a rather tumultuous year and a half for me. Everything seemed to be falling apart when my dad decided to leave our family. He was always a workaholic, barely ever finding time for me or my mom, but his sudden departure was a shock I never saw coming. My mom kept it a secret until nearly a year had passed since he moved out. It turns out they had already filed for divorce by the time they broke the news to me. They explained that my dad was overwhelmed by life's challenges, though he never specified what exactly was weighing him down. He didn't even say goodbye in person. His last communication was a simple text message telling me to be good. After that, he vanished from my life, and the separation became official without any real closure. Living arrangements changed swiftly after the divorce. My mom retained our family home and was granted full custody of my brother and me. My dad was given visitation rights, but he hasn't exercised them yet, leaving me puzzled about his intentions. As if dealing with the fallout from my parents' separation wasn't enough, about 2 months ago, my mom introduced me to her new boyfriend, Robert. They had been dating for almost 3 months and were now engaged. The speed at which things progressed was overwhelming, especially since I barely had time to adjust to her new relationship before she decided to make Robert my stepdad. When my mom introduced Robert to me 2 weeks after their engagement, he appeared distant and reserved around me, though he was much more affectionate and playful with my younger brother. At the time, I assumed it was because my brother was only 4 years old and easier to engage with. However, a few weeks later, my mom revealed the true reason behind their rapid engagement. Robert had received an exceptional job offer that required them to relocate out of state. They planned to move away, leaving me to stay with my grandma, as my mom didn't think I would want to uproot my life. Despite her arguments about my happiness and the comfort of staying with her, I insisted on moving with her to avoid the pain of another parent leaving. My mother, however, wanted me to stay behind, believing that Robert only wanted my younger brother and doubting his ability to bond with me as his daughter. She thought I was too emotionally attached to the past to adapt to a new stepfather. This perspective hurt me deeply because I expected my mother to support me, not side with someone who wanted to replace my father. Although I love my grandma and was comfortable staying with her, I couldn't bear the thought of being abandoned by my mom as well. After some heated arguments, I decided to take matters into my own hands and moved in with my grandma, leaving my mother without even a proper goodbye, except for a heartfelt farewell to my little brother, whom I knew I would miss dearly. Living with my grandma has been a blessing. She's incredibly understanding and supportive, making the transition much smoother. She believes my mom's actions are wrong and has been a pillar of strength for me. Our lives have settled into a routine, with the only disruptions being my school commute and maintaining contact with my brother through daily phone calls. Recently, my grandma threw a surprise birthday party for me, inviting a few of my close friends and some relatives, which lifted my spirits considerably. During the celebration, she revealed another generous gift. While her lawyer will manage the penthouse for now, it will be entirely mine once I turn 18. This news was the highlight of my year, and I had no plans to share it with my mother. However, word got out, and my mom discovered the gift, leading her to propose that Robert adopt me in exchange for transferring the apartment's ownership to him. I was furious when my mom called to inform me of this arrangement. She expected me to embrace the idea of moving with them now that I could potentially join their new life. I refused outright, making it clear that I wouldn't be part of any such plan, and hung up on her. She called again, leaving a message filled with justifications about financial struggles and her need for Robert's support, trying to elicit sympathy and persuade me to agree. Her words initially made me pause, but her insistent tone and apparent self-centeredness left me feeling even more resentful. I responded by firmly rejecting her proposition, choosing to stay with my grandma as initially planned. My grandma assured me that she wouldn't hand over the penthouse to Robert, knowing he wasn't trustworthy and fearing he might exploit the property for his gain. Despite my decision, my mom wasn't ready to accept it. She showed up unexpectedly at my grandma's place with my brother, demanding to discuss her offer in person. I was already annoyed, and her emotional pleas only exacerbated my frustration. I confronted her about her selfishness and her disregard for my feelings, leading to a heated exchange where she tried to defend her actions as attempts to make everyone happy. Instead, I saw it as her prioritizing her happiness over ours. Her emotional display didn't change my stance, and after she left, I realized she had blocked me on all platforms, leaving me conflicted and guilty for calling her selfish. In an update, I want to share that after receiving so much support and feedback on my initial post, I've been reflecting deeply on the complexities of my family situation. It dawned on me that my mother's relationship with Robert might have started even before the divorce, possibly revealing secrets that were never shared with me. This realization has cast doubt on her fidelity, and while I can't confirm if she was unfaithful, the possibility has shaken my trust in her. My grandma and I have been discussing these suspicions, but uncovering the truth has been challenging, especially since my father hasn't been part of the conversation. For days have passed since my mother's last visit, and there's been no communication since she blocked me again. My grandma, who has been a steadfast support, has also been blocked by my mom, which I find ungrateful given her unwavering care and love. My grandma has taken me in out of pure kindness, even foregoing any expectation of financial support, and I believe my mother should appreciate her sacrifices instead of severing ties. In another update, something significant happened yesterday. My father decided to visit my grandma after she reached out to him, revealing a history between him, my mother, and Robert that I was unaware of. He confessed that their marriage had deteriorated long before his departure, primarily due to his affair with a coworker. My mother had discovered this betrayal and filed for divorce, setting strict conditions to protect her and my brother from the fallout. It turns out that Robert had been an old acquaintance from college, harboring long-standing feelings for my mother, which led to their complicated relationship. My father explained that Robert had always been unstable and had never truly been a positive influence. Upon learning of my mother's engagement to Robert, he realized that Robert had been manipulating her for financial gain, aiming to use her inheritance to fund his failing business. This revelation confirmed my father's warnings and justified my distrust of Robert. Feeling vindicated, I spoke to my mother to confront her about her deceit. When she denied knowing Robert from before their engagement, it became clear that she had been hiding the truth to move on from my father. I expressed my disappointment and decided to cut ties with her, feeling relieved that my father's side of the story was true. My mom's selfish actions have only driven me closer to my dad, who is now striving to rebuild our relationship and fight for full custody of my brother. Although my dad is working hard to mend things, I choose to stay with my grandma until everything settles, trusting her judgment and support above all. Finally, in the latest update, my dad and I took a significant step forward. A paternity test confirmed that my brother is indeed my father's child, strengthening his case for full custody. My dad is now actively fighting for full custody, and as a 15-year-old, I've voiced my desire for him to take care of my brother and me. Despite his efforts to reconcile and build a stronger father-child relationship, there are still unresolved issues that keep me living with my grandma for now. My mother remains distant, only reaching out to lash out before blocking me again, leaving our relationship in tatters. As for Robert, he swiftly abandoned my mother once my dad began his custody battle, revealing his true colors as someone who never genuinely cared for our family but was merely using my mother for his gain. Looking back, I'm immensely grateful that my mother chose to sever ties with me when Robert entered the picture because I couldn't bear to stay with her under those circumstances. My dad and I are committed to repairing our bond, and he's vowed to be a better father moving forward. Once he secures full custody or shared custody of my brother, we plan to strive for a happy and functional family dynamic. While it won't be easy, the foundation we're building feels hopeful, and I'm determined to embrace the future with my dad by my side.